Hello and welcome to Ruckosaurus Rex, the channel where we review and discuss all things dinosaur and other prehistoric animals. How are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great, and one of the reasons for that is you see it right in front of you. Haolonggood has done it again. Another 1/35th scale sauropod. I love it. I love getting sauropods. I love it even more when they are in scale with my other dinos. And this is no exception. This is a true 1/35th scale model. This time it's pretty easy for Haolonggood because Ampelosaurus wasn't a very large sauropod, and as far as sauropods go. Trust and believe it was a large animal. It was estimated to be about 50 feet long. It was a titanosaur, late Cretaceous. And speaking of that, let me confess some things about myself. You know, I come up in the time when basically the only known sauropods, publicly known sauropods, were, you know, the Apatosaurs, the Brachiosaurs, the Diplodocus, Camarasaurs of the world, Brachiosaurs, dinosaurs like that, and they were all in the late Jurassic. You know what I'm saying? If there were any Cretaceous sauropods, they may have been discovered, but they were not described yet, so they weren't released to the public. I never knew about them. As far as I knew, sauropods were a Jurassic thing, and they basically died out at the end of the Jurassic period. Maybe some bled over into the early Cretaceous, but for the most part they were Jurassic-based animals, right? And then the next thing I know, I'm hearing about all kinds of sauropods, and not just all kinds of sauropods. I mean, the Titanosaurs came, and the largest animals to ever bestride these lands ever. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're talking about going into South America, which houses the largest animals ever. All of the biggest titanosaur sauropods, that's where they all reside for the most part. And it was kind of refreshing to find out that sauropods not only made it into the Cretaceous, but made it all the way to the end of the era of dinosaurs. So that was pretty cool. Ampelosaurus actually was a late Cretaceous dinosaur. It was from France, and it was about it existed about 71.5 million years ago. So late Cretaceous, you know, not quite all the way at the end, but late enough. So yeah. Anyway, you see what we got going on. Haolonggood, as always, provides two different color variations to their model, and I have we'll call it the red and charcoal gray. That's the one that's standing behind the green, and looks like purple and red, the neck of the Ampelosaur that's in the front. And looking at the top, we have you see all of the or most of the model offerings from Haolonggood, and on the flip is basically the same thing that we've got going on. And here's our Ampelosaurus in all its glory on a rotating base. And yes, indeed, I am very, very excited about this. It is a beautiful looking figure. Haolonggood is absolutely incredible. I mean, we know what time it is with PNSO, but the simple fact that Haolonggood is, in terms of quality, in the sculpt and in the paint apps, the accuracy is keeping straight up in pace with PNSO at that price point is just astounding to me. It just is. I love PNSO, but I love Haolonggood. I guess I have to say equally as much. I kind of sort of want to say more so, simply because it's not as big a strain on my wallet, at least figure for figure. Haolonggood is doing it on the sneak tip. They're just pumping out models at such a pace that you don't realize that you're going broke buying them all because of how inexpensive they turn out to be. But they're going for that quantity thing. But the great thing is they're also bastions of quality. As you can see right here with this particular model, this model is fire. And we're going to take a closer look at our Ampelosaurus as soon as we get it off of this moving platter. Here we've got our Ampelosaurus off of the rotating platter, and the very first thing we're going to do is take a measurement. You know how excited I get about my sauropods being 1/35th, so I'm eager and anxious to play the calculation game. Let me go out wide with this particular model with the our tape measure here. And it's showing, yeah, it's, the wild thing is we have a curled tail at the end. So it's actually longer than what my measurement is. And that measurement comes up to about 16.5 inches. So if it was stretched out, it would probably be a full 17 inches or close to it. Doing the calculations, the estimations, at 16.5 inches for 1/35th scale, this actually represents an animal that's just over 48 feet long. So once again, if that tail is stretched out, it'll get even closer to 50. So this is safely tucked in that 1/35th scale. So the scaling is there. So this is going to look great with other dinos in the 1/35th scale range. It's pretty cool. It's unfortunate. It's from France, so we don't have any French predators. This is quite possibly the first French offering we've gotten from anybody, as far as I know, unless it was another Ampelosaurus, of course. But other species, I can't think of them. But they did have a couple predators around. They had Pyroraptor around, but I don't think Pyroraptor was any concern to an Ampelosaurus, quite frankly. Yeah, it's looking very nice. The coloration on this thing is very, very nice. And I mean, everything, the scoots or spikes, whatever you want to call them, on the back, along with the osteoderms and everything else, is quite impressive. Starting off with the head sculpt, if I have any type of, we'll call it gripe or complaint, it would be, and it's more so because, you know, when you're dealing with sauropods, they have small heads, so it's kind of problematic trying to show the mouth, especially since most of the time these companies, they make their herbivores with their mouths closed, so they have just like slits for their mouth separating the upper and lower jaws, and the same is here. You can see the mouth, but still it's kind of, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of problematic to check it out. Looking at it closer up, you can definitely see it right there. You've got the eyes, it's white with black pupils, and try to get that front. Pretty nice. You've got some dark shading there for the snout, and yeah, it looks pretty nice. That's a nice front view of the animal. I've been trying to incorporate that in my reviews. I don't always do it because it's new, so I have to get used to doing it, giving you the front look of them. I do it mostly with theropods, but I'm going to try to do it with all species, no matter what they eat. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that looks pretty good. As you can see, it's got a brown tan at the bottom there, the lower jaw and the lower portion of the neck. The upper portion is more of a brick orangish reddish color, and then you've got the striping that's going there, the brown striping, looking pretty nice there from the top of the head going right down the neck. I'm going to turn so we can see the throat. You've got some wash there in the throat, so you've got that. Continuing it on, you see some more wrinkles there, and I'm going to just go right now for it, because looking at those scutes, spikes, and osteoderms at the top there, that's banging. That's just so nice. Haolonggood, excellent. You see the spiking going on right there. Look at this. It's an armored sauropod, you guys. An armored sauropod. I guess it needed to get something extra because in the world of sauropods, of titanosaurs especially, this was the little guy. Look out for the little guy. Anyway, you see we've got the dark grayish type of black there, and it gets lighter and even lighter as we get to the underbelly. Look at those wrinkles there. Pretty nice, pretty accurate. And then, of course, you've got the cream and the off-white / gray at the bottom, and there's some wash down there. Look at that forelimb. Pretty nice. You see wrinkles there. You go down, and well, there is one thing missing, and that's thumb claws, right? And I'm sure Ampelosaurus had thumb claws too, so if I'm wrong, check me in the comments, but I don't see a thumb claw. And I'm trying to remember if Titanosaurs actually lacked thumb claws, because that might be the case why it doesn't have it. So looking pretty nice there. See the wrinkles there. Got the hind limb, and then you see the nicely painted toes there. So I turn it so you can see them all. Very nice. And more of that the spiking going on. And you see we've got the grayish white striping going along the back, and that same coloration dark, going all the way down to that long tail as it tapers, and the tail ends in that brick reddish brown color. Very nice. I'm going to twist it around. Sorry, I'm off camera for a minute or two, but hey, when you're done with creatures this big, that's what happens. So now we'll go to the other side so you can see what we got going on. Cloaca. Still good. Nice wrinkles right there. You see the skin stretching. Attention to detail. Haolonggood, you're something else. And more of those spikes. And there's that forelimb. And then going here to the other side. And now for a couple comparisons. What we've got here, I've got the Dicraeosaurus, which is also from Haolonggood back when they were partnered with GR Toys. And this is also another 1/35th scale, true 1/35th scale sauropod, late Jurassic style. This was in the Diplodocus family, and it was also not very large for a sauropod. This species grew between 40 and 50 feet, so this is right in scale. A little bit, I mean, you can see the differences between a Diplodocid and a Titanosaur. You see the Titanosaur, even though they're up there close to the same length, the Titanosaur is definitely more stocky, more bulky than the Dicraeosaur. And they're more or less, they're close to the same length. The Dicraeosaur is just a little bit smaller. This is probably representative of a 46-foot long Dicraeosaurus, as opposed to a 48-foot long Ampelosaur. But you can see the Ampelosaur stands taller, giving credence to its Titanosaurian origins. They look very nice together, though. And to no surprise to anyone, this comparison was definitely coming also by Haolonggood, the recently released Apatosaurus. And you see the size difference here. You're talking about 50-foot or close to it animal compared to another Diplodocid, the Apatosaurus. Only this one is one of the larger representatives of that clade. And you can see it right there. Pretty awesome. Another true 1/35th scale, and I'm loving it. And speaking of that, I hear that we're going to get a full-sized, if you will, Titanosaur. I don't recall what it is. I don't know if it's a Patega Titan or an Argentinosaurus or something like that, but we're supposed to get that in 1/35th scale. So you see the Apatosaurus right there, right? Well, think of something that's larger than this. And when I mean larger than this, we're talking by 20, 25 feet in terms of real life. So that's going to translate to several inches larger. And of course, I had to get one predator in there and also a representative of Haolonggood. This is the Carcharodontosaurus. Of course, when this was out, Haolonggood was partnered up with GR Toys, but it is an accurately scaled beast in the 40-foot plus range there, about 43 feet this animal represents. And you can see its size up against an Ampelosaurus. I think one of the reasons Ampelosaurus only grew, to about 50 feet is, until we know more, it didn't have any mega predators like Carcharodontosaurus where it roamed. There were, like I said, Pyroraptor, and there was another theropod whose name escapes me right now, but one thing I do know about it is that it wasn't very large. I think Ampelosaurus had, like with all sauropods, most of its issues were when they were young and coming up. And once they got to a certain size, then of course the only way they would encounter any issues with predators would be if they were old, infirm, injured, or just weak. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as far as I know, there were no megatheropods back then. I don't even recall, from what I've tried to look up, there weren't even any mid-sized theropods, in the 20-foot range, because a 20-foot, 25-foot theropod, a couple of them, 3 of them, a pack, they could gang up on an Ampelosaur and bring it down. But yeah, Ampelosaurs, they're Titanosaurs, so they were the Titanosaurs of their region in France. Yeah, what can I say? But this is how a megatheropod like a Carcharodontosaurus would measure up against an Ampelosaur. And we had to get the 135 scale human in there. So, yep, we can sit here and say only 50 feet long, but Ampelosaurus was still a big boy from a certain perspective. My final thoughts on the Haolonggood 135th scale Ampelosaurus, the latest offering from that company, and like I said, the latest. I was so excited to review this that I put this ahead of the Carnotaurus. Yes, I've got the Carnotaurus as well. The Carnotaurus came one day, and Ampelosaurus came the day after, to my total surprise. And I was like, oh, looks like Carnotaurus are going to have to take a back seat, because I've got to review this. And considering the slew of theropods we've been getting courtesy of PNSO, we got that Allosaurus from Haolonggood as well. I figured, A, we need to get some herbivores in there, and B, we've got a 135th scale sauropod, and a Titanosaur at that. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to review this one first. But you already got little tease, Carnotaurus is on deck. Anyway, this particular model, the coloration, the spikes and the scoots, this is an armored sauropod for sure. Very nice. The colorations are great. The accuracy in terms of the size for the scale is great. Like I said, this represents a little bit over 48-foot long animal, and that puts it right there in that 135th scale. That's that sweet spot. I love it so much because I get to mix and match my dinos, and I'm sure you guys would love to do that too. Like the video if you did like it. Share the video, especially if you liked it, so others can like it too. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I hope you do. I'd love to have you. And leave your comments below. What do you think, especially about the thumb claw on the forelimbs? I don't know if that's a faux pas on Haolonggood's part, or am I off on this one, and that Titanosaurus, that's the one characteristic that Titanosaurus did not have, that did not share with the rest of their sauropod brethren. I could be, that could be why they don't have that thumb claw. Let me know if you know. I'm going to go, after this is over with, I'm going to look it up, so you guys will probably let me know, and I will have found out on my own anyway. But I encourage engagement. I want you guys to give me the feedback. I want you guys to check me if I'm wrong, because the object here is to get it right. You know what I'm saying? So let's do that. If you want to be notified when I upload another video, hit that bell while you're down there, and notified you shall be. Like I said, Carnotaurus is up next. We're going to keep this train moving, and yeah, so that's up next, and I believe I've got a PNSO dino on deck as well. Oh yeah, of course, the Yangchuanosaurus is on deck with lips. So yep, we've got a couple more theropods to do, and we're going to keep it going on. By the time those come in, I'm sure Haolonggood is going to unleash another species on us, and I'm here for it. Anyway, thanks for rocking with me, guys. Take care.